Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm Janice Butler, founder of Woman of Character Incorporated, and it is Motivational Monday. We are here to motivate you today. Good evening, everybody. I pray that you had a good weekend and an amazing day. It's the start of a new week. It's the time where you can still do and accomplish those things that you've set out to do. You got another chance. We've got another chance to get it right, to get started, and to keep going. All right. So it is Motivational Monday. I pray everybody is well. Come on in, come on in. I am live on Facebook and Instagram. YouTube will be uploaded later. And so if you want to follow us or have friends and family, please, please, please share the video with your family and friends, or put it on your page so if somebody comes back later on tonight, they'll be able to see the replay and be motivated as well. So please, please, please share. And so good evening, everybody, once again. And I'm Janice Butler, founder of Woman of Character here in Kansas City. We are a nonprofit organization that educates, empowers, and encourages women and young ladies that are affected by domestic violence. We encourage you guys and empower you to dream and to live, to hope, and to love again after being broken. So I want you to get up and just put a smile on your face and just say and take this journey with me today. All right. So today I'm going to be talking about limits and how to push past them. Give you some of the things that I did that encouraged me, that motivated me, that helped me get unstuck. And so I wanted to just share with you briefly about limits today, because you can do it. And you all know my saying, when you say what you see, you will see what you say, right? All right. So I just wanted to share with you this morning. I came across this quote by an unknown author, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And the quote says, "The only limits in life are the limits created in your mind." I'll repeat myself. The only limits in life are the limits created in your mind. That's powerful, because it goes along, I believe, with our mantra that you say what you see and you'll see what you say. But we can create limits based off of what we see, right? That's what we've heard or what we've experienced. We begin to create limits that tell us that we aren't good enough, or that we're not able or capable of achieving a thing, or getting somewhere, or living life to its fullest. We create those limits based on hurt, rejection, words that people have spoken to us or said to us as a young child, as an adult, as a teenager, even yesterday. Words are powerful. Words are powerful. And you all know that the scripture says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And the word instructs us or impels us, encourages us to choose life. That means watching what we say, watching what we see, because again, it will create limits. And limits aren't always bad. Sometimes limits are warnings, things that tell you what's up ahead, but it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily stop. It's just informing you of the situation or the obstacles that you might come across, or that you might experience on your path, right? But all limits are not bad, but a lot of them, because we create them in our minds, and depending on our perspective, we will create limits that will hinder us, limits that will cause us to stop, limits that will cause us to give up, limits that will cause us to shrink in the moment. And all of those things, again, they come from our thought process, our perspective, what we see, what we've heard. And so today, I hope that I will motivate you to change, or to look at look at the limits that you've created, right? Or that have been created based on outside influences, and that are currently operating in your life, that's currently telling you that you can't do this, or that you won't get to this place. Because you all know, women of character, we are here to be your cheerleader. We are here to encourage you and empower you to fulfill the plan that God has specifically for you, whatever that might be, whether that's your business, whether that's your relationship, whether that's yourself, taking care of yourself, your children, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals. We want to encourage you to live life to the fullest and to embrace what God has for you, because He's going to supply you with everything that you need. All right. So as I was thinking about that quote, what came to me was that for every action, there is a reaction, right? For every obstacle, there's a way to get around it. For every obstacle, for every decision, or for every opportunity, there's a choice to make, right? We have to make a choice. We just have to choose which way we're going to go, whether we're going to stay right where we are, whether we turn around and go in another direction. It's a choice that we each have to make. And we have the ability to do it. But the question is, what's keeping you from making the choice? What's keeping you from making that choice? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it people? Is it just uncertainty, the lack of confidence, the fear, or not really knowing? And it might not be necessarily a fear, but is it, I just don't know what's up ahead, and so I don't want to try? Is it one of those things? Because I know that I have dealt with all of those things, not feeling capable, wanting it to be perfect or right in my own eyes. And so therefore, I don't really get started because things aren't lining up the way that I want them to line up. And so a lot of times I just stop. And really, that's all about the lack of self-confidence and fear and doubt and not knowing what's up ahead. But I want to tell you today that God has given you everything that you need. Everything is already inside of you. And Holy Spirit, He's with you to help you on this journey. And I know you say, yeah, but that's supernatural and all that stuff. And you might not even believe in God. But I want to encourage you that there are people that will help you get to the place, to help you to achieve the thing, to help you change your perspective about life and how you make those choices available to you today. They're available. And if nothing else, woman of character, we are here just for you. And so we talked about what are those things, and you can push past those things. You can. You have that ability. You have the capability. You have the wherewithal. You have the strength. And you might be saying, well, Janice, you really don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I'm dealing with right now. You don't know how I've been made to feel. My confidence is nowhere up here. I've been beaten, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally. I've been beaten down so much that I just want to give up. I'm tired of living this life. Well, we've all been there. I know I have. And I've experienced that, and that's why I can confidently tell you what I did to be successful, to be, and it might not be successful as some may see success, but for me, I've come a long way, and I know you have too. You've come a long way. If you are listening to this video right now, that means you still have life to live. That means you've come from a place that has maybe, like I said, broken you down, beaten you down, told you you weren't enough. But those are the limits that were created based on someone else's opinion or thoughts about you. And then we begin to foster those ideas, those words, those feelings, because honestly, sometimes we're more comfortable in that dysfunction than we are in actually getting out. I want you to get out. I want you to experience life, because life is what God said that we can have and that He wants us to have, and He wants to have us to have it more abundantly. It's not about just always having finances or things, but when you have peace and when you have joy and when you have love, the love of your family, even the loving yourself, being able to love yourself, that's your first start. That is the start of you busting past, going past the limits that have been either created for you or that you've created in your own mind, right? So I just want to give you a few things that helped me push past the limits that I was experiencing, the limits that I experienced when before I wrote this book, Torn Between Religion and Relationship, the limits that I've had to push past being single after being married several times, being in this state, the limits that I've had to push past knowing that I graduated 7th in my class and yet I don't have a college degree, but I'm doing very well in life, you know, comparing myself with my friends, my classmates, those who are, VPs and traveling across the world and in corporate America, or they have their own businesses. I struggled because I should have been, in my mind, one of them. And so I made myself feel less than. I put myself down. I put a lot of pressure on myself because I took another journey. But see, one thing that you have to realize, and that I had to realize, was it's my journey. God called me to do a specific work for a specific time and for specific people, which are women and young ladies that are affected or will be affected by domestic violence, or any type of abuse, or self-esteem, low self-esteem, or that may have relationship issues. That was my call, but I didn't know that at the time. So I struggled with not being good enough, not being educated enough, not having the business smarts that some have, or that most of my colleagues have. You know, not having at one time, not having the nice home, you know, the nice car, raising your children and they go off to college. Well, my kids did go off to college and graduated, you know, but just that whole struggle. I struggled with the people, the fear, the doubt, the low self-esteem. I struggled with not knowing where my life was taking me, you know, the path that I was on and where I would end up. But I promise you, when we change our perspective, when we can open up our minds and realize that there's more out there for us, there's more out there for you, because you do have a purpose. It doesn't matter where you are right now. I want you to get up, listen to this video, and be encouraged, and then do something. Because again, we all have a choice to make. And so the first thing that I did was I acknowledged. I acknowledged where I was. I acknowledged what my situation was or is. I acknowledged why I was there. Whether, it was the fear, the doubt, the lack of confidence. I had to acknowledge all of those things, whether it was the hurt of the past, not wanting to be hurt again, not wanting to put myself out there again because I'd been hurt so many times in relationships. Because most of you all know that I am a domestic violence survivor, and my estranged husband at the time, I was 39 years old, held me hostage. I'm sorry, I was 34. It's been a long time, y'all. Y'all know I'm 58 now. So 34 years old, being held hostage with 2 young children. Twice. I was held hostage twice in a 3-week period. And to end up seeing my husband killed right in front of my eyes, being right there with gunshots or bullets flying over my head. That will create a limit, a feeling of inadequacy. I felt like a failure. And I had already been feeling like a failure because that was my 3rd marriage. That was my 3rd marriage. So I was feeling like I couldn't, what was wrong with me? What was wrong with me? I'm a pretty girl, I was smart. I'm smart. What's wrong with me? Why am I attracting these men, these type of men? Well, it was all because of my lack of self-esteem. Nobody could have told me in a million years that I had low self-esteem. But after that situation, I began to realize, and the Lord started revealing to me that I felt like I wasn't loved. I was desiring love, but I was looking for it in all the wrong places. I was trying to create something instead of letting it create itself, instead of putting myself in a position for it to come, for it to happen. I made those choices, and thus I ended up suffering the consequences. And I'm not saying that if you are in an abusive relationship, it's your fault. I'm saying that whether you're in an abusive relationship, you have the choice to get out. You can still get out, and you can get out safely, and you can stay out, rebuild your life, rebuild your family, and be happy. Be happy. So again, the first thing was I had to acknowledge what it was that I was dealing with, whether it was the fear, the doubt, the low self-esteem, and then acknowledge where I was, and then why was I there? What did I create? What was my role? What was my responsibility in where I was? I made bad decisions. That's just point blank, period. I made bad decisions. And so it caused me to be in a situation and in a place where I ended up being in a hostage situation, where I ended up being abused by my husband, where I ended up where I had to start all over. So again, the first thing that I had to do was acknowledge where I was, why I was there, what the situation was, what my fears were, what my feelings were, what my mindset was at the time. I wasn't looking at it holistically. I was looking at the moment, right then, right there, right now. Instead of saying, I do have a dream. I do want to get somewhere. And Unfortunately, again, I made bad decisions that put me in the situation that ended up creating uh, the limits that I began to live under. Um, the second thing was, after knowing and understanding and acknowledging my why and the what, I had to be able to get the confidence to ask people for help, to seek help, to ask somebody, one, please pray for me. Two, give me some direction. I had to have a friend, somebody that I trusted, that I could talk to, that would understand me, not judge me and the decisions that I made, but yet be able to give me truth in love so that I could continue to grow and come out of and push past those limits versus me staying stuck, staying condemned, feeling even more worthless, even more like a failure. Because sometimes people's words, although they may mean well, it will keep you in that place of inadequacy. And so you have to learn. I had to learn who to talk to, that there were people out there that wanted to see me succeed. There are people out there that want to see you succeed and that will help you get there. Again, it was a choice that I had to make. It's a choice that you have to make. And those people could be, I had to, and this is more recent, just getting a coach, starting this whole Facebook Live and ministering to women. I had to get a coach, one, for social media. How do I reach women across this world, particularly in the situation that we're in with this pandemic, and the quarantine. People are pretty much in place, although the nations were opening back up to a degree. But I couldn't just stop while we were in this quarantine. I still had to minister to you. I still had to encourage you. I still had to empower you. I still have to educate you. So I could have either stayed stuck and said, well, I'll just wait till the pandemic's over, and then I'll have my forum, and then I'll have my speaking engagements. Then I can go out and I can minister to people. But this was the opportune time for me to be able to talk to you via satellite, via Facebook, Instagram, via YouTube, which will reach far more people than waiting on me to get to Texas, or for me to get to California, or for me to get to go over to Kansas, or down the street, well, I say down the street, to St. Louis, or even here in Kansas City. I had to make a choice, and I decided that you were worth me continuing this journey that I'm on, because one, I am called to do that. That is my responsibility, is to help other women who have experienced the same thing that I have or worse. It's my responsibility to speak life in you. I carry that responsibility because I don't want to see any woman experience what I've experienced. And you don't have to. You don't have to. It's your choice. But with choices, the word says that people perish because of a lack of knowledge. And sometimes we need other people who can give us that information that will help us change our perspective, change the way we think, change what's happening in our lives, and help us, push us, encourage us, run alongside us to go further. That's what coaching, that's what support, that's what family does and that's what we at Women of Character do. And there are other organizations that will help you get out of the situation that you're in, to let you know that although there may be limits, although you may have created this fortress that keeps you stuck in this place, those bricks can be torn down. You can walk outside on the other, get to the other side and continue your journey, because you have something just as important to say that needs to be heard, just like I do. And so getting that coach, having that friend to talk to that will encourage you, that will push you, somebody that you can trust with your emotions, with your feelings, with your life in a sense, that won't hurt you, but that will empower you. So that was the second thing. And the third thing that I did was I began to change my mindset. I had to change how I saw my life. How do you see your life? Where do you see what do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself going? What is that dream that you feel is so far out there that you'll never achieve? But I'm here to tell you that you can and you will when we change our mindsets, when we take the limits off of that situation. Oh, it's too big. That's what we say. Oh, it's too big. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, nobody will believe in me. Nobody wants to hear my story, because those are the things that I said. Nobody wants to hear my story. Why does anybody want to hear about somebody who's been beaten or held hostage? But I realized that there are women just like you that need to hear and need to see somebody that has come out of it, to give them the hope and the encouragement that you can get out of it too, and live happily, live in peace, live with joy as you continue and finding yourself. You can find yourself. What is it that you want to do? Do you want to start a business? What's your talent? What's your gift? Focus on those things. And that's another way to push past the limits. When you have that dream, if you would just put that dream up in front of you. And I know people are vision board out, but the word says that write the vision and make it plain so that those that read it can run with it. If I hadn't written down that I wanted to write a book, if I hadn't written down that I wanted to be a speaker and that I would speak to women across this nation, if I hadn't written down that I was going to be the winning contestant on Wheel of Fortune, if I hadn't written down, which I still have written down, that I am going to be married, I have seen all but that last one, but I'm going to see that. I'm going to see that because I see myself married. But I was a winner on Wheel of Fortune. I wrote my book. Actually, I've written one book. I'm the co-author with Richenda Pickens on Picking Up the Pieces, and there are 12 other authors in that book, and I'm working on my third. I'm working on a program that will help women called This Is Me. This is us, ladies. We've got to be able to encourage and build one another up, but we have to have a vision. You have to have a vision. What's yours? Tell me what your vision is. Tell me what your vision is. And if you don't want to share it, that's fine, but I encourage you to write it down. Put it up on your wall so that you can see it. On my mirror, I have the characteristics that I want to see in my husband. And I'm not talking about just the physical. I'm talking about the character, the integrity of a man. And that helps me to visualize him, whether I don't know what he's going to look like, but I visualize how he's going to be. And so again, I say what I see, and I will see what I say. And I encourage you to take on that attitude, change your perspective. Open up your mind to the possibilities, because they're out there for you. They're out there for you to achieve. But we have to make a choice, and we have to put in the work. All right? So then the fourth thing is decide. I had to decide what I wanted to do. Again, it was a choice. Did I want to just stay stuck? Did I really just want to wallow in my sorrow, in my feelings, stay a victim? No, I didn't. And you don't have to either. Because one, God did not create you to be a victim. He created you in his image, and it's good. It's good. With all your seemingly flaws, with all of my seemingly attitudes and my flaws that I think I have, then I had to change that. I had to make a choice. I am no longer a victim. Demo Sheen says, my vision is a loving family with God at the head. Amen. And you will have just that. What's your vision? What is your dream? Some people might be like, I don't have a vision. Well, what do you think about the most? What is it that if you had all the money in the world, if you had all the time in the world, and every resource that was able for you to do what? What is it? What is that thing? What is that one thing? And it could be more than one thing. For me, I'm going to go. I know that I am going to travel this world and speak to women across this nation. I know that. Even if I have to travel right now through social media, I am going to be seen across the world. And it's not for me. I'm doing this because I know women need to hear my testimony, because it's going to help them come out of their situation. My why is not about me. My why is all about women. Your why is, it's got to be bigger than you. It's not for selfish gain, because at the end of the day, when you do what you've been called to do, when you have a desire that's bigger than you, God's already going to give you the resources, and you'll be blessed for doing what God has told you to do, what he's giving you to do. And you get those things based on, or based off of, the experiences that you've had, the hurts, the rejections that you've had, the obstacles that you've encountered. It just helps you, and it builds you. It helps to stack your confidence. It helps you to motivate you to keep pushing till you get to the prize that you desire. You got to keep it in front of you. You got to keep it in front of you. And then you have to make a choice. I chose to do a vision board. I chose to put those pictures up of men and women that I looked up to, preachers that I looked up to, that I knew had well-established ministries, and that I knew were based off of the word. That vision of seeing Pat and Vanna and the wheel, I kept that in front of me. I took a book, I cut out a picture of a book that I put up on the board. I used those visuals so that I could see. So when I turned away from them, I still could see them. What is it that you see? What choices do you have to make? Don't stay stuck, because somebody needs what you have. They need to hear what you have to say. They need what you have to give. Take the limits off. Take the limits off. Use the ones that are warnings or that show you what's up ahead, but know that you can get around it. If it's an obstacle, know that you have the ability and the wherewithal, the capability to achieve it. Know that it's greater than you, and then trust the process. God is taking you on a journey. And we here at Woman of Character, and I know God's will is that you prosper and that you achieve that thing, because one, is for his glory. You know, when you get blessed with finances, it's to be a blessing to others. It's to help other people to see that, look, I did this, and you can too. I'm where I am today because I trusted the process. Have I been stuck at times? Yes. But I had a coach, I had family, I had those that would help me and kept pushing me. Janice, you need to keep going. Somebody needs to hear your story. Sherry said, my vision is to be used by God for him to be glorified through my life and the change he has brought about in me. My vision is for family that God blesses me with to set an example for all who will come in contact with us and change the heart of the world and turn it back to God. Amen, Sherry. That's awesome. And God has equipped you to do just that. What's your vision? What is your vision, Yolanda? I know some of it, and it is coming to pass. Takia, what's your vision? I know some of yours, and it's coming to pass. You will be a successful business owner, retail business owner. You'll have your own shop. You're in the learning phase right now. Where are we? We have to determine where you are right now, why you're there, what has kept, are you stuck there, or are you moving? Are you stuck in that situation? And if you are, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. We're saying move, move. Know that the obstacles are the things that you face. You have the choice to make. You have the ability to do whatever it is that you want to do. You have the ability to go around that situation, turn in another direction, or stay right there. And my prayer for you today is that you are encouraged to move forward. Encouraged to move forward. Encouraged and motivated to keep moving. So that's all I really have for you. I pray that you got something out of that. Remember, say what you see and you'll see what you say. You can push past the limits. You can. I love you guys. Please, 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 if you aren't already, follow us on Instagram at WMOF and the word character, CHARACTER. On Facebook, please share and follow us at Woman, and that's Woman with an A of Character Inc. And on YouTube, follow me please at Janice E. Butler. I pray again that this was motivating for you, empowering for you, encouraging for you, and I pray that you have an amazing, amazing week. Take the limits off, guys. Take the limits off. I love you guys. Bye.